YouTube, happy holidays and welcome to the channel. My name is Jason. Here on this channel, I do a lot of food and product reviews. If that's something that interests you, please consider hitting that subscribe button. But today we're going to be talking all about artificial Christmas trees. So as you can see over my shoulder here, I have an artificial Christmas tree. I got it a couple weeks ago. And when we went shopping for it, we knew what we wanted. We knew what size we wanted and like the light pattern or the color of the lights that we wanted on it. And we had to go to many stores to find exactly what we were looking for. So I took the camera with and filmed it, so make it a little easier for you. I'm gonna show you some different stores and what type of trees they have there. So maybe to help you narrow down your hunt so you don't have to run all over town looking at it. So we're gonna be checking out Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, and Walmart. So those are kind of the four big ones. So I'm sure there's other stores out there in your town that may carry artificial trees. I'm just kind of covering the ones that are the biggest ones that probably are more everywhere, that pretty much wherever you live, you have the option to go to one of these, if not all of these, to find a tree. And the selection is a little different at each of these stores. And like I said, it depends on what type of tree you're looking for. And we'll cover that in this video, you know, what each store carries. And obviously, from what you're gonna see in this video, your selection in your store obviously could be different. And all these stores carry plenty more trees that you can order online. But if you didn't wanna go through all that work of ordering online, you just wanna go out to a store, you wanna see the tree, and you wanna buy it, this is kind of what these stores have. So like I said, we went to many stores before we found this tree back here, and I'll go more into this tree and what we ended up with later on in the video. But let's go ahead and start checking out the different stores and seeing what they have in stock. First up, we're gonna head over to Lowe's. We're gonna go ahead and check them out. And I can tell you this just straight off the bat, when we walked in, they were looking at the trees. Not that they're bad trees, they're the most expensive. Like when we were looking, especially for like the size that we're looking at, Lowe's had, their prices were higher than most other stores. So, and maybe it's a better tree. I think most of their lights on there are GE lights, so maybe it's a better product, but you're gonna be paying a little higher price. Let's go ahead and take a look at what type of selection they had at the Lowe's that I went to. So let's go ahead and check out Lowe's. And like I said, the one thing we did notice about Lowe's is they are one of the most expensive stores. You know, as far as the trees go, I saw that their prices were a little higher than other ones. And walking right into the store, very first thing we see is a 12-foot tree. So if you're looking for a big one, they definitely have it, but it's expensive. It was what, $698 for this tree? So if you need a 12-footer, Lowe's has it for $698. As you can see, they got a decent selection, not a ton of trees, but you got, you know, some colored ones, some, you know, your green trees, you got some that are white, like they're covered with snow, just kind of giving you a little perspective there of the size of the trees. Trees with white lights, trees with colored lights, and then the trees with, you know, a variation where you can switch between the two. A lot of smaller trees. If you're looking for like the 7 to 7.5 foot size, Lowe's is definitely a good option for you. So as far as Lowe's go, just some prices here that I got. Again, that 12-foot tree was $698. It is color changing, so you have a variation of different color lights if you just want to go with the colored, if you want to go with the white. So you have those options, but again, that's like $700 for that tree. The 7-foot range, they have some 7 foots, all white lights, about $100, $120. They have a lot of 7.5 foot trees to choose from, whether you want white lights. If you wanted it with no lights, a 7.5 at Lowe's with no lights on it is about $139. With white lights on a 7.5, they're about $260 to $300. Again, it depends on the tree, you know, different brands of trees, different styles of trees, so the price varies. You know, if you want one with color changing, white and colored lights, a 7.5 foot at Lowe's, $329. So they have a 9 foot there. So they had a couple 9 foots at Lowe's. Both of them had just white lights. They didn't have any colored lights on them. One was $258 and the other one was $498. I didn't look at, you know, go in and check exactly what the difference, why there was, you know, $150 difference between the two. I'm sure it's probably the look of the tree, maybe the lights and stuff, but again, there's about your prices that you're gonna be looking at Lowe's. So next up, let's head on over to Menards and take a look at theirs. I can tell you, just walking into Menards, they have the best looking setup for their trees. almost like a little Christmas wonderland there, and they got a lot to choose from. Especially, again, most of these stores, if you're looking at like a 7.5-foot tree, all these stores are gonna have a great selection for you. Lots of different trees to choose from at Menards, whether you want them with white lights, if you wanted it with both, or white and colored lights, different sizes. I mean, they have little tiny ones, 4 foot and even smaller, up to, and they do have a 12-foot there too. So like I said, a lot of different selections. They have some trees there too, as you can see, with no lights on them at all. So a tree, a 7.5 at Menards with no lights on it, you can get it for $109, where, what was it, Lowe's was $139. So again, if you're looking, we thought about going that range, that way too, of getting a tree with no lights on it. We could put our own. We chose to go with one already pre-lit, so it's up to you what way you go. Again, like I said, Menards does have some trees there. Not big ones. They just had, I think they were 7 or 7.5 foot trees there with no lights on them. There's a look at Menards 12-foot tree. They got it all decked out in lights, and I don't know if you can see that price tag on there. $399 for their 12-foot compared to Lowe's, which was $698. So if you need a 12-foot tree, I'd say go over to Menards. It's a lot cheaper tree. It does have, let me see, I believe that one did, I believe, just have white lights on it. So that's the difference. Lowe's had color changing. This one just had white lights, but again, it's a huge price difference in those. If you're looking for a 12-footer, those are your two different options out of these stores we're looking at. Menards does have some 10-footers too, and there's me just standing next to the 12-footer and a 10-footer, and that 10-footer there is $949 with white lights on it. And they had another one that I didn't show on the camera, another 10-footer with just white lights, $302. They have some 9-footers, 8.5 foot. Menards had the most variety of trees from sizes. I mean, pretty much everything from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, half sizes all the way up. Good selection of trees. If you're looking for a mini palm tree with lights on it, they got you covered there. If you want a tree that you can control with your Alexa, they got you covered there, $279. So it's a little, I believe this is a 7.5-foot tree. You can control it with Alexa if that's something you're into. So like I said, Menards, biggest selection. If you have a certain size, like 7.5-foot tree, any of these stores will do for you. It just comes down to price range. If you're looking for those bigger trees, this is probably, if you're like, oh, I really need an 8.5-foot tree. This was, my Menards was the only one that had an 8.5-foot tree. 9-footers, 10, 12, lots of big trees there. So Menards is a good choice for you if you're looking for different trees. So let's head on now. We're gonna swing over to Home Depot. Home Depot's selection is, I think, the smallest out of all these. The smallest selection, but they got some decent trees. As you can see, I mean, if you want trees with just all blue lights, if you want some snow-covered trees, and they do have some big trees there, some 9-footers. We actually ended up getting our tree at Home Depot, mainly because we were looking for a 9-foot tree that had colored lights on it. Some of the other stores had 9-foot trees, but they only had white lights. Home Depot was the only one that I found in my town that had a 9-foot tree with colored lights on it. So that's why we ended up going with Home Depot. Even though their selection isn't that big, you may still want to check them out. Again, like it comes down to is what tree are you looking for, what size, and what store is going to have it. They do have some decent trees there, and the prices aren't bad, as you can see. Kind of consistent with some of the other ones. But for us, it was the only place that had exactly what we're looking for. And there it is, the 9-foot, $249. So, I mean, price-wise, it wasn't bad. It's about what we expected to pay. And I'll just show you with ours. Comes with a little remote. I got 7 different settings on it. So if I want white, I can do that. Just solid color. Like I said, I got a bunch of different options I can go through. A lot of them are just, fading in, fading out, how fast it goes in, if it's just colored fading or if colored to white. Let's get back to just all white. So that's the tree that we ended up going with. And another, just to show you a little more on it, and I'll show you a close-up. So the tree is pre-lit, so all the lights are already hooked to it, And if one burns out, it doesn't shut off the entire strand. You can replace them individually, and super easy to set up. It comes in 3 sections, and you just stick the poles together. The poles go into one another, and I'll show you. I didn't pull, because it's already decorated, so I'm not going to pull the pole completely out. I'm going to move it just a little bit. As you pull the pole up just a little bit, the section, you can see the lights for that section go out. So the plug goes into the bottom section. There's 3 sections. That section will light up. You set the next section into the pole, boom, that section lights up. You set the 3rd section in, that section lights up. So as you put them together, they just light up. And the cool thing about that is it's so easy to just lift it and take it off. When we were decorating, we were like, oh my God, we got to get a ladder. We don't have a ladder. I'm like, wait a minute. I just pulled the top section off, we decorated it, and stuck it right back up there. So really like that tree. Decent price, and we got the lights we wanted, and it was from Home Depot is where we ended up going from. So lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at Walmart. Now, I can tell you, Walmart has a decent selection, and if you're on a budget, it's going to be the place to go. They got some really cheap trees there, but with that being said, even though they're cheap priced, they look cheap too. They have some more pricey trees there. You know, some trees that are in line with some of these other stores, but as you can see, there's some $39 trees, $99, and they're not horrible, but they're not gonna look like your $200 trees. And look at that one, $289, you can have, you know, blue on the top, red on the bottom. You can do the colors in the different sections. So that was kind of cool. So Walmart, again, has trees, and we looked there, and I think their biggest tree was 7.5. So they don't have big trees, at least in stock. Maybe your Walmart might, but the one I went to didn't have them in stock. And some of those ones on there and they're in the 150 to, what was it, $289. Decent looking trees, but they do have really cheaper ones. You know, $39 for a tree. If you're on a budget, it's a great place to go. Because once you decorate it and you throw a bunch of stuff on there, no one's really gonna be able to see. I don't have a lot of decorations on there yet. We haven't got it completely done. You're not gonna see the branches. You know, obviously the more pricey of a tree, the realer it's gonna look. Some of those cheaper ones for $39, if you look at the little needles on the branches, they almost look like they're paper looking. So they don't look real. But when you throw a bunch of decorations on it, as long as somebody doesn't get up there and really look at it close, it's not gonna make a big difference. So like I said, on a budget, Walmart is a great choice for you. And it's a decent selection. I say it's on the lines of Home Depot selection about the number of trees. But again, green ones, white ones, colored lights, white lights. And they got some ones here that other stores don't have, which is cool. Like, let's take a look at this tree. Look at this one here. It rotates, $139. If you want a rotating tree, granted that means you have to decorate all the way around it. It's kind of cool. It's, what was that, a 7-foot one. If you want a snowman tree, a baby snowman tree, there you go, $89 for that big snowman, I think it was. Decent prices, good variety if you're on a budget or you're just looking for something really different that you can't get at any other store. Walmart's a good choice for you too. So there you go, there's a look at Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, and Walmart, and it comes down to basically what type of tree you're looking for. What's your budget and what do you need? I have 16-foot ceilings here, so I needed a bigger tree. A 7.5-foot tree was gonna look really dinky in here, so we knew we wanted about a 9-foot. Sure, we could have went with bigger, like an 8 to 10. We could have even put the 12-foot in here, but if we move, then we're probably not gonna be able to use that tree ever again. This tree here, 9-foot, even if we move, you know, more than likely we'll be able to find a place to put it. It should fit in there. So hopefully this video helps you a little bit if you're in the market to get a tree. You kind of, maybe you didn't even think about some of these places that Lowe's and Menards and them had Christmas trees. And now you have an idea of what they have, where to go, kind of the prices. And like I said, just figure out before you go, what are you looking for? Do you want all white lights? Do you want the option to go between white and colored? Like, right now I have it on white. I typically like it on colored lights. My girlfriend Bria, she prefers to have it on the white. So it depends on who's here, what color those are gonna be on. I like having that option to be able to switch between them. I didn't want a tree that just was all white or just all colored, because then you might get bored with that after a while. But it's up to you. What are you looking for? What's the size you need? So if you figure that out before you go to the store, you'll save yourself some time, and then you'll be able to pinpoint and find that perfect tree for you at the perfect price. So, like I said in the beginning, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.